Welcome to RandomXL, your raw and uncut podcast. It's your host Bear with your co-host The Woob, streaming live to kick off the final game of Week 9 on Monday Night Football. The 2-5 Cardinals take on the 3-4-1 Cowboys. Cowboys looking to bounce back after being bucked by the Broncos 44-24 in their last outing. A game in which the offense struggled to get things going in the passing game. Dak completed 61% of his passes for 188 yards while throwing 2 interceptions. The Cardinals are coming off a week where they had a Week 8 bye. Murray continues to recover from a foot sprain and was ruled out for tonight's matchup, meaning Jacoby Brissett will get his 3rd consecutive start as he tries to get his first win of the season as the starter. He has completed 64% of his passes while throwing for 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's also been sacked 8 times in those 2 starts. Before we give the mic over to the Woo, we're going to go ahead and give a replay on what the call-outs were for yesterday that hit. All right. And so fantasy call-out. So yesterday, Jamar Chase hit the over on the 70 yards. That was one of our call-outs. As well as Trayvon Henderson hitting the 70 combined yards for rushing and receiving, I'm sorry. Bijan Robinson also hit his 80 combined yards, rushing and receiving. Brock Bowers was a monster yesterday and hit his 70-yard reception call out. Jackson Smith and Jigba also hit his call out yesterday, going over 80 yards reception. And Matt Stafford was our final call out that hit yesterday. He did go over 250 yards and he did get the over on the 2 touchdowns. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to the Woob, and he's going to give you tonight's call outs for the game.
You're missing one more call out, Drake May, New England Patriots. Hit his over and touchdowns. Yesterday was pretty brutal for fantasy purposes. Some noticeable misses, including DK Metcalf, inexplicably left out of game plan for the Steelers. We also missed on Jamar Gibbs again. Very weird day of football. Some huge favorites didn't play so well yesterday. We had a few that missed by. They barely missed. Lad McConkey barely missed, for example. We missed with I believe the rushing yards by 4 for one player as well. Overall, we've been consistent with the fantasy picks throughout the season. Tonight should be no different. So tonight for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going with Dak Prescott. Struggled last week against the Broncos. However, the Broncos have possibly the best pass rush in football. And for a team that likes to pass the football, they're tailor made for the Cowboys offense. I do think that's an aberration because before that, Dak had been playing extremely well, and I mean extremely well. Was in contention for MVP before last week. I expect him to bounce back against the Cardinals. On the Cardinals side, Jacoby Brissett has really been a marvel. He's played much better than Kyler Murray this year, opening the offense up. They were very competitive against the Indianapolis Colts and the Green Bay Packers, losing 2 close games. So again, and these are 2 of the best teams in football. Although the Packers did, both teams lost yesterday, I should say. But before that, the Colts had the best record in football. So 2 close losses. There are no moral victories. However, what we saw was that both McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. Played much better with Jacoby at quarterback versus Kyler Murray, and I believe a lot has to do with Kyler Murray's stature. I know small quarterbacks.
Your audio
Over that line. So with that being said, I am expecting Marvin Harrison Jr. to continue to play well. Expecting Marvin Harris Jr. to go over 60 yards receiving. Um, for Dallas. When he came back healthy, we saw CeeDee Lamb be a monster. He's always a threat. But I'm going with George Pickens. George Pickens had been playing extremely well, was the best receiver in football for those weeks he was out. I'm expecting Dak to go back to make him a focal point for the offense again. Look for George Pickens to have a big day to day. I'm expecting George Pickens to go over 80 yards receiving. Expecting the Cowboys to win, expecting the offense to put up some points. We do know the Cowboys can't stop a nosebleed, so take the over on points as well. Expecting it to be a shootout. I'm expecting this to be a 35 to 28 type of game because again, neither team has a great defense. They can both move the football, and there are dynamic receivers on both sides. McBride, one of the best receiving tight ends in the league. He's in the running for second place. And I say the run for second place because number one is clearly that monster we saw Brock Bowers yesterday. I mean, just dominant tight end. And you have, of course, the aces George Kittle, McBride, and a few others in the running for second place. The rookie Tyler Warren, for example. But I think it's clear at this point that when healthy, the best uh, tight end in football is Brock Bowers. Prime Ron Gronkowski out there, Brock Bowers, with a little more speed. Um, and it's amazing what he's doing with Geno Smith, who's been absolutely trashed as a quarterback this year. But again, McBride is elite. He's proved it. Jacoby will give him the football. So I'm expecting to move the ball. And also, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's had some drops. He's had some mental lapses. But we've also seen the talent. And when he's locked in, he can be one of the top receivers in football. Look for him to step up today in a big way, and I'm definitely expecting great things from that offense. So those are my picks for today. I don't expect either running back to do particularly well. So look for it to be a passing bonanza.
Okay, okay. And we got a little bit of time for the game, so there's a couple of other things I want to touch base on. First off, I want to start off talking about JD5. Gruesome injury. And people are already trying to compare it to the RG3 situation. You know, obviously the Commanders were getting blown out yesterday, and there's some of the fans are feeling like, why didn't you pull him from the game? With all things considering, and you leave him out there, and now he has a dislocated elbow. Um, they're saying he's going to be out, 4 weeks minimum. Um, I feel like it would probably be a little bit longer than that. If I was the Commanders, I would probably shut him down for the season. That's just me, just because of the simple fact that you don't have a shot, probably at this point, of making the playoffs. There's no reason to try to
Mm-hmm.
rush him back. Let him get healthy. Once he gets healthy, get him in the weight room so he could put some weight on, man. I like JD5, but he's kind of looking like a string bean out there with his stature, and taking the hits that he's been taking. You got to get some offensive linemen over there that can block for him. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
um, the run game has been kind of all over the place. Some games, uh, they produce some rushing yards. Other games, not so much. I'm still kind of blown at the fact that they traded away Robinson to the Niners. I felt like, to me personally, I thought he was the best running back in that group that they had. I mean, you had Rodriguez there for a few years already, and he was the backup to Robinson. Krosky Mayer, he had one solid game this season where he went bananas, but outside of that, it's been real lackluster. And JD, like I liked him, coming into the league last year. He obviously came and showed out last season. They made it to the NFC championship game. Obviously, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. But you gotta really look at the overall for that team. Like no line offensive lineman. You're down bad against a Seahawks team that's known for having defenses over the last few years, and you put him in a situation where he gets hurt, and he's already had missed multiple games already this year. And I don't know if it's as a potential from them rushing him back if he came back too soon. I don't know what the whole situation is. That we're obviously not in the organization to know what the talks are about, or what the medical staff is saying about him, or whatever, as far as giving him the go ahead to play. But man, that was a gruesome injury that he took yesterday.
So I'm gonna say a couple things. I don't know that getting the weight room would help JD5, and I'll say because it'll compromise his speed. So Lamar Jackson actually slimmed down to get his speed back because he was noticeably slower when he put on weight. And Lamar Jackson, is the premier running quarterback of the NFL in NFL history, I should say. Um, but JD5 definitely needs a better line. What you're seeing is what you see in professional sports, which is, a great player comes in, there's no tape on him, and he's unstoppable. Because how do you stop someone you don't have tape from? College tape, sure, but professional sports is a little bit different.
Right.
There was no tape on him last year, so his tendencies, they were new. Um, Fast forward a year, and I don't think he put the work in the off season that he should have. Right? He didn't. He probably resting his laurels. Like, man, I was incredible last year. We'll keep the gravy train going. And what happens in the NFL is they watch your tape and they scheme. Because in the NFL, this isn't college, right? In the NFL, everybody can run. These are premier athletes, right? We have
Right.
defensive linemen to run you down. And they scheme accordingly and they take away those things. So what we see this year is that look at and when I point this out, JD5 is most effective in college as well as last year at LSU when he's able to run the ball effectively. Look at JD5 running stats this year. They're not the same as last year.
Right.
And of course, because he can't run, now that means that the passing game is not opening up. Because he's not as much of a threat to run the football, that means that now those players are not running open down the field like last year, and it's showing. And he's regressed. We see the same thing. We saw the same thing with C.J. Stroud, who had probably the best passing season of a rookie quarterback in NFL history. Regressed second year. Hasn't looked the same as his rookie season since C.J. Stroud. And obviously, prayers to C.J. Stroud suffered a concussion, nasty looking hit yesterday. But again, these quarterbacks regress for a reason. Now, let's look at a quarterback like Caleb Williams, who was had an up and down rookie season, hasn't hit his peak. There are some things he's doing a lot better this year, right? There's still some things to clean up, but he's doing things a lot better this year. He's progressing, number one overall pick. He's progressing in a different direction. He's getting better. Those two are getting worse. That's a problem. So I think JD5, you got to invest in the line. You got to invest in your player, right? Get him some people that's going to block for him. You shouldn't get rid of Brian Robinson. He's a big dude, and that means an excellent blocker in that backfield. You got to get him some help. You got to get some help in the form of a line, the block for him, keep him healthy, because otherwise you will have RG3 over.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't like to your point. They can't make the playoffs. So what I think they should do, sit him for the rest of the season, but keep him with the team. Have him out there watching these games live,
Right.
watching film, and seeing what he sees, so he can adjust, right? So he can make the mental adjustments. So that next year he comes back, he's not just at home rehabbing injury. He's actually studying, putting in the work with game, field, so on and so on. So he's come back a mentally better quarterback. He has the physical talent we know already. It's
Right.
all about the mental aspect of it, and we have yet to see if he's mentally going to prepare differently than he did last year. So I would shut him down absolutely. Long term help from him is better for the franchise. Then he come back in a meaningless season, and because I don't think Marcus Mariota is going to keep him in the playoff. They're
No.
not in the playoff hunt right now. I'm going to get there with Mariota, so that means that you want to make sure that he's healthy for next season, and that you'll work with him on his study habits. So that's my take on JD5 situation.
Yeah, and then too, like you look at I think we talked about it a little bit, like and maybe in the first podcast. McLaurin, I got a receiver that's 30 years old. He was ready to hold out for a contract, um, and he gets the contract that he wanted, and he's barely been on the field this year. He's
Mm-hmm.
barely been on this field this year. He's every time you turn around, he's hurt and ruled out of the game. So you're down offensive pieces. Even Debo Samuel's been out a couple of games. So like you're down offensive pieces. Your only healthy receiver that's actually been serviceable for the most part has been McCaffrey, the younger McCaffrey. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and when you don't have him, then you don't have a run game, and then you don't have an old line. Like it's given some Chicago Bears feel how they weren't putting pieces behind their for their quarterbacks to be able to withstand injuries and be able to progress throughout the season. Another injury that got brought up today, Joe Alt for the Chargers. He's down for the season on IR.
That's a,
Uh,
that's,
would you say?
that's a big one.
That is a
That's a
big
big
one.
one.
That is a big one. As we're talking about offensive linemen and blocking and things of that nature, that's huge. Um,
Herbert took some shots yesterday. I mean, it was the Titans, and they held on to win. But Herbert took some shots yesterday. Um, these things matter big time. It's the trade deadline, and again, you get to see what teams are serious and what teams are not.
right,
Um, because we can answer you, Joe. Now, the Chargers, if they feel they're close or if they're a piece or two away or they had a competitive team, you'll see them make a trade and try to make sure the trade's for the lineup. And if they
right,
don't, then that means that they're just okay with making the playoffs. I mean, so some franchises are okay making the playoffs for one game. You
right,
know, get that the extra revenue. Some teams are great with that. Other teams want to win Super Bowls. The
right.
Eagles trade the third round pick. They want to win the Super Bowl.
And you,
The
I mean,
the the
and you're not the only person that said that was much of a little bit of an overpay for that. I've heard that a few times today on the third rounder for Phillips from Miami.
Mhm.
Um, Man, that defense though, man, you got a bunch of first round D linemen on that defensive line now. That's crazy the way, and they just traded for two corners, right?
Mhm.
And then you trade for a
Yeah.
defensive lineman, and then you get Graham back as well, who comes out of
Yeah.
retirement. They are ready to go for another Super Bowl run. They are
Mhm.
preparing for another Super
Yeah.
Bowl run. Um,
Mhm.
Another thing that was mentioned just before this game, Jerry Jones said that they've already got a trade in place. It hasn't been announced what the trade is. I'm kind of curious as to see who it is. A couple of names have been thrown
Uh huh.
around. Chubb, Micah Fitzpatrick is another one that's been thrown around. So I'm curious to see who that is, whether they're gonna name that like now or in the morning or right at the deadline. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I want to see who he's trading for. You're a team that you're not. I'm not
You're
saying
not a
you're
piece
out of the
away.
playoffs.
He's a very unserious guy. They're not a piece away from being a Super Bowl contender. So whoever
Right,
he trades from is not going to move either that much.
right.
Get to the playoffs, it's going to be one and done. I mean, what are you doing, Jerry?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Now I know me and you talked after the Bears game yesterday, and you were talking about not trading for somebody for the Bears, but I think they're in a situation where they kind of have to. They lost Abendeo for the season. That's another D lineman. They're down to three healthy D linemen. You have to make a trade now. Like you might not want to. It's not going to be a splash trade by any means. I don't think. But you have to see who you could trade for on the market at this point, because you can't finish this season with just three D linemen. You need
Yeah,
somebody else
that's
over
true.
there. So that's gonna be something to watch for as the deadline approaches tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's been a couple of names also
Or
thrown
they
around.
elevate the practice squad, which is more likely.
You
I
said
mean, the
what?
Bears are not. I don't think they're likely to, activate somebody from the practice squad. The Bears are not a piece or two
They
pieces.
don't
They're
have
quite
an
a few
edema
pieces
lineman on
away.
the practice squad to activate. That's my point. That's why they have to go out and sign somebody or trade for somebody.
That's rough. That's
Their
rough.
injury
And that,
their injury reserve list is quite long at this point between
a lot of these
DBs
guys off
and
the street are
linemen.
out for them.
Um, some of the obviously some of the DBs are on short time IR. We still don't have any word on Jalen Johnson when he's gonna come back. Kyler Gordon, he's out. He's down for 4 weeks. So there's that on the in the secondary. But the D lineman, like that's definitely a need. You have to. There's no way you could finish this season with the amount of injuries they've taken thus far this year. You have to go out and get a defensive lineman piece. It doesn't have to be a splash one because again, you don't want to try to give up none of your capital when you got the draft next year. So I don't know if that's like trading a player and like a late round pick to get a guy, or you're looking at getting someone off of someone's practice squad. I don't know what that looks like, but you got to go out and get somebody else to help that team. Hell of a game yesterday too, by the way. I don't know if you guys watched the game, the Bears Bengals game, but the last 5 minutes of that game was bananas. The last 5 minutes of that game was bananas. The way, shout out to Joe Flacco too. Like as much as flack as he caught, no pun intended, for his performances over there in Cleveland. I don't feel like that was all on him. Because as you can see, he has two number one receivers over there in Cincinnati, and he was able to throw up 474 yards. Obviously against a banged up Bears secondary, but still, to be able to put up those numbers at the age of 40 years old and get the sling the ball around like the way he did, that was insane.
It's very
Um,
insane. But again, and that goes to tell you about the franchise. Cleveland, they run their offense their way. He goes to Cincy. They say, hey, listen, let's press the ball down the field. 40 years old, he can still do it. It's safe to say that he wasn't the major problem in Cleveland. He might have been part of the problem. And clearly, he held onto the ball too long. He took some bad passes, floated some passes up there. But the fact that he's able to come in and keep them in games and they're fighting every game, win or lose, says
mm-hmm.
that most of it is on Cleveland. Stefanski relinquished play calling duties finally to his offensive coordinator. I think that is admission that the play calling hasn't been up to par this season.
Right.
Um, so again, want to see how they look going forward. Obviously, neither of us are Dylan Gabriel fans, so let's look and see if he looks better with a new guy calling the plays. But the Cleveland franchise, I mean, they had a hell of a draft, but the direction of the franchise is kind of like you have no idea where they're going with this. You drafted potentially a Pro Bowl running back. Looks like it could be a Pro Bowl linebacker, a great tight end. I mean, so many pieces that you and a great defensive tackle, and so many good pieces. And then you call the most conservative offense in football. I mean, what do you do?
Also on the Bengals, I want to talk about Chase Brown for a second. I don't know if you've seen his interview after the game. Did you catch that?
I did not.
So basically he said, we're up. You got to end the game. While I agree with that, you're the last person that should be talking about anything on that team when you can't get more than fucking 3 yards of fucking carry. You have been absolutely horrible this season as a running back. One of the worst running backs in the league this year. He doesn't have the vision. He isn't getting up the field. 11 carries for 37 yards ain't gonna cut it, bruh. It ain't gonna cut it. So to
But
sit up there and say those words, and you're not part of the solution yourself. I'm not saying that the offense was the reason why they didn't win that game. But when you have 500 yards in total offense and only 37 of that's from the rushing group, that's a problem. That's a huge
Well,
problem.
I think it. Well, so let's start by saying that we're getting ahead of ourselves because the broken clock is right twice a day. That's number one. Number two, Chase Brown had 8 catches yesterday for 75 yards. So you have 100 combined yards of offense, then yeah, I think you have a right to, although he hasn't been a great runner yesterday, 75 yards receiving as a running back is no that's no nothing to sneeze at. The offense played well to win. It was a defense that complete meltdown. Um, Great throw by young Caleb, by the way. Up the seam, delivered a strike, and the fact that pass got there gave him a chance, and London did the rest. Obviously, great control and run after the catch for the W. But Chase Brown is right. If you score 42 points in NFL in a regulation game and you don't win, that's a problem, man. Now, I want you to understand that how many teams in NFL history and regulation have given up 42 points and lost? Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
So
well,
he's
the
absolutely
Bears
right.
had never won a game in which which opponent has scored 40 points on them. They were 0-40 all time,
Mm-hmm.
all time.
Yeah.
0-40 got their first win against a team scoring 40 points on them. And while yes, he had the 75 yards, the reason why I say something about the run game because the run game is going to help control the clock, right? And when you can't
Yeah.
run the ball in this league, and you're scoring points at
But
the
they were trailing though. They were trailing big. They were down by 2 scores. At that point, you can't run the football. And so objectively speaking, they've been in positions, and he's been terrible. By the way, I said I called attention to it weeks ago about
right.
how terrible he was as a running. He's averaging 2 yards a carry at the time I called it out. He's improved some since then, but when you're trailing and have to go to football, that's going to limit your opportunities to run, right? So if you're only getting 10 or 12 carries a game because you guys are trailing, it's hard to get in the groove to establish a rhythm as a runner. I understand that. Yesterday's game, I mean, the Bears were up by 2 scores, and I want to point it out. And since he came back and took the lead, they had to pass the ball. Down by 2 scores, you have to pass the ball, right? The Bears could afford to run the ball. We saw one guy with the seventh round. You know what I'm saying? The seventh round game of the year.
Insane.
Another guy, yeah, insane game, right? They were able to run the ball. The Bengals could not afford to do it because they were trailing for so long in the game. So you trailing by 2 scores. You battle back with the help of the officials. I might add, battle back to take the lead late. You gotta hold on for that victory. You gotta close it out. The Bears, I mean, at worst, the Bears should be in position to kick a field goal where you have a chance to block it or, the wind conditions, whatever the case may be, the kicker has to make a kick, right? It's not over till it's over. Instead, you give up a touchdown. Like, what do you say to that? He's absolutely right. You got to close it out. And that was, I mean, if you look at that play,
Well, they gotta give me anyway because let's be honest. I looked at that replay on the Trayvon Edmonds pick that they called down at the 4 yard line. Total BS. Total fucking BS. The dude's 3 yards behind him. He gets up and runs down the field, and they call it back. What are the refs looking at this year? What are they looking
No,
at?
I
Because that sequence doesn't even happen if the refs actually call the game right. They're up 48 at that point.
yeah,
So the refs kept the. I don't know what was going on with that. I don't know. Like you said, Vegas call. I don't know what you want to call it, but the refs have been absolutely atrocious, and not
that's
just
a
that.
conspiracy theory. Vegas makes a call. That's conspiracy. Vegas makes a call because with certain outcomes, teams lose a lot of money. So I'll tell you like this: the Bears are up, and so here's where it gets dicey. A lot of people will do things like when it's like a late game like that, right? You're down by 2 scores. A lot of bettors will do things like put $100 on Cleveland. I mean, essentially come back and win, right? Because you get
Right.
really good odds. Late in the game, the odds be great. So just say you now they're saying the odds you come back to win this game is 20,000 to one, and you put $100 on it, right?
Right.
Oh, well, now you winning some money. You winning some decent money. And I'm not saying that the NFL is scripted or anything like that. Just saying that
Right.
the way it happens, like, come on, man.
Right. Another play
Yeah.
that I wanted to touch on is the intentional grounding in the KC Buffalo game. How do you call intentional grounding on a tip pass? And I understand Andy Reid's frustration. It's not a challengeable call. He talked to the referees to see if he could challenge the call. But you have New York who's watching the game. You have these fans that are watching the game. We all see it. You mean to tell me
Mm-hmm.
that you can't call it down to the field and say that was a tip ball? Again, I'm not advocating for KC to win the game, but now the integrity of the game is starting to come in question because you got bullshit calls like that.
But you know what? It's Buffalo gets the calls in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, the Chiefs gets the calls. That's how it's been going. This is how the Josh Allen Mahomes rivalry has been going for last 5 years or so. So again, not saying that it's intentional, just saying that there's a pattern there, right?
Right.
Um, and also the officials have been really bad this year. It's more noticeable now because there's more access to the games, right? Like you have all the insights. You can, like there's the league pass is so available now, right? Like there's the league pass with YouTube. I mean, yeah, YouTube's Sunday Ticket. Then there's league pass. There's all these different ways to watch the game now. So many people are vested, and then with the different clips being shared, I think that there's a lot more scrutiny on what's happening, so it's starting to become more noticeable that mistakes are, influencing the game. We want the game to be decided on the merits of the players, right? Not on a
Right.
mistake by the official. And
Right.
I think that people are starting to notice that officials are making so many mistakes that's impacting the game that they're starting to speak out about it. But really quick here, just saw a stat flash across the screen. Jacoby with 599 yards, so basically 300 yards a game in his two starts, four touchdowns, two picks. So he's averaging two touchdowns, one pick a game, and 300 yards. In place of Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray's not throwing 300 yards. Just want to point that out. He looked absolutely
Yikes.
dreadful and it started. So
Yikes.
Jacoby comes in throwing 300 yards. That says a hell of a lot about Kyler Murray.
Yikes. 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 Yeah, I mean these little quarterbacks, man, like I know he was a highly touted quarterback coming out in the draft the year he came out, but he's just been up and down, up and down. Like he have a hot game, have a low game, have a hot game, have a low game. It's like at some point where you
And
get
it was the right year, and that plays a role in it. It's the right year he came out. In a year of when there's quality quarterbacks, are they taking Kyler Murray number one? No, right? But in a down year, you need someone. You kind of talk yourself into Cam Ward. We talked about Cam Ward yesterday. He doesn't look all that great, right? But he's
right,
also a person that you had to talk this guy up and say, you know what? He's worth number one overall pick. Talk yourself into it. Hype him up, so on and so on. But in a normal year with quality prospects, do you take Cam Ward number one? No. And I kind of feel the same way as with Kyler Murray. He was just in the right place at the right time. He cashed in on the need for a quarterback in Arizona. But if you're playing with the coach you're playing with, if Cliff Kingsbury couldn't fix your issues, then they're not getting fixed. And so obviously you got to see what you have. You do have some pieces down there, some building blocks, and there's probably a better quarterback coming out in the draft than Kyler Murray, and so you play a quarter, But um, Murray's issues have been emphasis played by Marvin Harrison, but when you place the quarterback with Jacoby and you don't have the same inconsistent play, it kind of says the quarterback's a problem.
So if you are the owner of the Cardinals, are you gonna give? Would you give Jacoby a legitimate shot to be the guy down there, based off of what you've seen so
No,
far? I know 2 games is enough time to really say much, but
no, Jacoby's a career journeyman, and I think that you want Kyler Murray to come back and play well. So if you do decide you move on from him, he has some kind of trade value. That's just my take on it. He was no one round pick, so you want him to retain some trade value whatsoever. You if you bench him for Jacoby, there's no trade value for him whatsoever. You're not even getting a 7th round pick. It's more so like waive him, and we'll see you on the practice squad if you have anything left in the tank. So I think at this point, the Kyler Murray decision is going to be a business decision. If they want him to, they still want him to start.
well, they can't waive him anyway. They signed him to that big contract. What, just last year?
That's my point. So you want to retain some trade value if you need to get rid of him.
Yeah, because I'm looking at. I'm like they might have jumped the gun on that deal, signing him to that big contract like that. Like I don't think that
There's
he.
a lot of people. Yeah, he didn't deserve it. He didn't earn it.
No,
From what we saw, ask yourself this: what you saw from Kyler Murray the last few seasons, did he earn a big contract? And I would say no.
no. I'm saying
Yeah,
no. I'm saying no.
yeah.
I think he's done okay thus far, but to say that he deserved to be in, I'm not quite sure where his contract stands as far as quarterbacks, but he's got to be in the top 10.
I would think so. And it's the production is not there. He's top 10 possibly in salary. He's not close to top 20 in production. So what do you say about that? Sometimes owners are desperate and they talk themselves into making uh, decisions that don't make sense in hindsight. I want to say my boy Deshaun Watson, and I'll say out here I was a Deshaun Watson fan. I don't condone anything he's done, but Deshaun Watson is a Clemson Tiger. I support players from my school. I was a huge Watson guy when he was in Houston, and he was one of the best players in football. However, he missed almost 2 full seasons of football with the accusations and punishment from the NFL, things like that. And yet, despite knowing that type of layoff greatly impacts a lot as a quarterback, Cleveland talked themselves into giving out the first fully guaranteed contract in NFL history. Didn't work out at all, and now their contract is one of the worst contracts in football. So things like that matters a lot. Um, sometimes owners are just so thirsty and desperate that they, overpay for certain positions. Quarterback is a position that's most likely overpaid for, and we see it time and time again. But again, even as far as overpays go, this is even more egregious because of how much you overpay, right?
Right.
Um, I mean, I'll say Geno Smith got a bad contract because he's looked terrible this year. But compared, I mean, you would love Geno's contract compared to what they're paying Kyler Murray, right? You'll love
Right.
that Geno's contract. There's
Right.
so much more oversight and hindsight for Geno, even though it was when you start looking at the Kyler Murrays of the world.
What was uh? So speaking of Gino and the Raiders, what the hell is Pete Carroll thinking? I understand going for the win, but why not just tie the game up? I understand you only have 20 seconds left. At least leave with a tie. Like a loss is worse than a tie.
Yeah,
A loss is worse than a
and
tie.
so
You.
he believed in his team, and he said we're going for it. It didn't work out for him.
This is also the same guy that believed in fucking Wilson throwing the ball instead of giving it to Beast Mode, though. Like, is that the legacy that you want to have? Like, you have the opportunities to tie a game and leave with a tie, or have an opportunity to win another Super Bowl, and you walk away with an L. Like, he's a hell of a coach. Don't get me wrong. Like, he
Yeah,
he
he's
had
a
some
help.
good teams up there
He's
in
a help
Seattle.
program builder. He's a hell of a program builder. Like he used his college experience, USC, right, to construct the team properly. He drafted players that fit his scheme, and he constructed. He's a program builder. but he's also, notorious for making questionable decisions. There's a reason why he only has the one Super Bowl. So, again, great coach, program builder. He's going to, set the tone for the team. They're going to follow suit. He's going to get players that fit what he's looking for. But the same token, there's that blind loyalty to that, right? Like
Right.
that devotion to his process that causes you to be more irrational. This so and so fits what we're looking for, so I'd rather pay him or her, this amount of money as opposed to get someone outside, maybe a shorter contract, uh, who doesn't fit the scheme, but has talent. So I think that Pete Carroll, yeah, it's really hard to justify what he's doing, but going for the two, that was considered by the Ducks. That's something that happens quite a bit in college. He's a college coach.
Right.
It just happened to Michael Myers. In fact, the Duke Blue Devils went for two and ended up converting and winning the game just this past Saturday. First time Duke has won at Clemson since 1980. And I think Pete Carroll, and a lot of inopportune times, he regresses to being a college coach. If that makes any sense. Regresses to that college mindset
Mm-hmm.
and professional sports situations, and that is his undoing.
Do you think he has buyer's remorse on bringing Gino along with them instead of potentially going for a quarterback in the draft?
Well, the draft wasn't full of obviously we only had one first round pick, Cam
Right.
Ward.
Right.
Um, and but I think when he looks at Gino's his production, how terrible he's been without Brock Bowers, there probably is some regret. But I think he also recognized that when he's healthy, the Gino Brock Bowers connection is wicked, right?
Right.
So Genty, I like Genty a little bit. Finally, starting to be a little bit more receiver. Let's see how they look down the stretch now. But Gino has been, I think, the worst starting quarterback in football outside of Justin Fields this season. And I do think that there's a little bit of trepidation from Pete Carroll. Like, man, you fell off a cliff, right? Because that's the
Right.
problem. You fall off a cliff, and then you still locked in for another 2 3 seasons. I think that's the situation we're in. Um, and so let's see if they can turn it around before the season's over with. Yeah, I don't think that if Gino doesn't improve greatly for a season's over with, I think he's just done.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if he's not, and then you roll the dice with him again a second season, I don't think you make it past season two if he comes out doing the same production next year. I don't see a realm where Pete Carroll is able to overcome 2 seasons with this type of production from Geno Smith at the quarterback position. If he's going to have to, if Geno finishes the season mediocre or worse, I feel like you have to either a go for one of these more promising backups that have showed up in the league. You got what Mac Jones over in San Fran, um, who I'm sure is itching to get another shot at being a starter somewhere. Um, whether that comes to fruition, that's another story. But um, I don't know. I guess I'm really kind of just disappointed at how the season's played out for Gino thus far this year. I thought that him and Pete coming together would be a whole lot different experience. I thought that the offense would move a little bit better. They got some pieces down there, but man, it's tough. That's a tough loss for them yesterday. Tough loss.
I want to say that Mac Jones call out is spot on. We saw what happened with Sam Darnold under Shanahan. He learned how to be quarterback under Shanahan and went to Minnesota, balled out, hasn't stopped balling out. And so I do think that Mac Jones, who's had time to sit, behind Brock Purdy, learning offense, learn how to be a quarterback again in NFL. could go anywhere and be successful. I believe that. I believe he's gotten most of those bad habits out of his system. Whatever Shanahan was doing in San Francisco, the quarterbacks definitely see a huge boost in their efficiency. After they go there. So Mac Jones is definitely a viable candidate for a promotion. But yeah, I mean, Gino is going to be trash and throw a lot of interceptions and things like that. And Brock Bowers is not sorry, not Brock Bowers. If you know that you know, Gino is just terrible. He's not cutting it. You have Brock Bowers, who's second year, um, on that rookie contract still. You still have some great pieces on that team. You got to go for it, man. You got to make that move. I think Mac Jones right now is an upgrade over Gino from what I've seen. I mean, not even saying like, hey, we need to wait to the end of the season and see. I would say based on what we've seen from Mac Jones backing up Purdy and starting being basically a super sub these last or 3 or 4 of these last 5 weeks, I think he's showing right now that he's a better quarterback than Geno Smith. Geno Smith has been extremely turnover prone, who's only looked like a even starter worthy with Brock Bowers.
Right.
And so I think that's a problem. I think it's a problem if you're only somewhat passable as a QB when you have the best player at their position out there on the field because it's not realistic, right?
Right.
That means you're dependent on this one player, and that's a problem for long term success. That means if he's injured, you're now going to regress. And Gino was just absolutely dreadful um, without Brock Bowers.
Man, Brock Bowers is that dude. It's just unreal, man. Just unreal. Um,
Georgia Bulldog, baby.
I'm just hoping that I mean I don't expect Loveland to be that caliber, but I'm just hoping he's half as good as what you get out of Brock Bowers. I mean, obviously he had the big play at the end for the Bears to win the game yesterday, um, and
They're
he's in
different
good
style of
company.
players, though. They're different style of players, though. So I want to talk about Loveland for a little bit. Loveland, the way he runs routes, he reminds me a lot of young Travis Kelsey, right? Brock Bowers is like, I'm gonna take it right to you. I'm going up the same. He's more of a Ron Gronkowski type of player
Right,
with more speed, not as physical as a blocker, but with more speed. So different style of tight ends. But yeah, Bowers is out there moving like a receiver. He's getting open. It doesn't matter who's covering him. He's getting wide open. It's like a sight to see. I mean, anytime a tight end gives you a 100 piece and 3 touchdowns in one game, you know you got somebody special.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I understand that Loveland is different than him. I'm just saying, like, I hope production wise, like, he reaches like that top tier of tight ends. Not saying that he's gonna be a Brock Bowers, but in that company of the Kelseys, the Kittles, the you know what I'm saying, like him. I want him
That
to
second tier, yeah,
succeed
yeah,
to be a top tier tight end in the league. I think he can be. I obviously he can run decent routes. He's got great hands. He's not I wouldn't say he's faster. He's faster than Komet, I believe. Just off of
yeah,
game
he's faster
film,
than that. Yeah, he's
watching,
faster
and
than
he gets open quite a bit too. There was a couple of times that um, he was open for the first, and I talk about Caleb and his progressions and sometimes and how he doesn't make certain plays. And there was a couple of plays that were left on the field where Loveland's on an island by himself. Nobody's around him. And I'm like, man, if you just throw it, just look his way for 2 seconds and just throw the ball, there's a first down right there, and potential more because you see he had 3 defenders on him, 3,
that. Yeah, yeah,
and still was able to break away for the touchdown.
yep.
You know, so
Poor tackling too, but
Poor, yeah, no, obviously poor tackling. I mean, it was poor tackling all over that game. On both sides, both teams' defenses had poor tackling. Um, Obviously, Flacco realized that we had a weak secondary, and he exposed it. Um, he took the shots downfield. Obviously, T. Higgins, he had what, 3 touchdowns himself yesterday. Um, Jamar
Higgins made
Chase,
a few,
huh? Huh?
a few crazy catches. Higgins made some crazy catches too.
He did. He really did. Like, and as a Bears fan, I'm looking. Like I said, when it came down to them scoring that last touchdown, I'm thinking game over with. Like, we only got one touchdown. You know, it's like 50 seconds left in the game. I'm like, man, like, what's gonna happen? Obviously, Williams scrambles and gets a first down, and after I think it was 3rd and 10, and he scrambles and gets the first down. Then you got him throwing the very next play after getting the first down. He throws that dart, and I mean, obviously the rest is history. That, as trashy as the defense was, that was like one of the most exciting games I've seen this season. I ain't gonna lie. I was just like, it was a shootout. It was a shootout. Good old fashioned shootout. I would like to see the defense play a little bit more up to par, but you play with what you got, and at the end of it all, if you walk away with the W, a win is a win. Doesn't matter how you got it, whether it be down in the mud or whether it be you doing the shootout, whether it be, you know what I'm saying, like, you're walking away with the W, man. You're walking away with the W.
Well, first off, you underestimated who your quarterback is, and cause I told you that you didn't have Caleb Williams, you had young Caleb, out there. And young
Man,
Caleb, when young Caleb was out there, he was balling. You know what I'm saying? He threw a strike, and I say it all the time. But when you see a guy has legendary arm talent, you really want to see him, put it all together. And what we saw was maturity, right? It's now 3rd and 10, and you don't panic,
right.
right? You make the right play, and then you unleash hell in a throw. You put it there in a space where you zip it in there, which even gave Loveland a chance to begin with. All around great game by young Caleb. I mean, he wasn't winging the ball like Flacco because Monungai was out there running wild. You know, for a while there, you couldn't tell if it was Monungai running or the Bears had somehow brought back Prime Barry Sanders the way he was looking. Just with ease, getting 15 yards here, so on and so on. And the Bears controlled that game, had it in hand, but no secondary, which means that players who don't know the scheme out there. Well,
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase said, "Hey, we got this.
Both
Yeah, we
both of
got this."
them,
Like,
both receivers had over 100 yards. Man, that was insane. And then obviously the special teams play needs to get cleaned up. You start off the game where the Bengals return the kickoff return for a touchdown, and then the onside kick situation. Daniel Hardy not being heads up and paying attention to and realizing the situation. Like, on an onside kick, you put out the hands team. That means you gotta be alert. That means if the ball's coming your way, you fall on it. Not looking
yeah,
around and all the
some
other
people,
stuff.
some
That was
people
a
always
bonehead
try to
play on
catch.
his part.
Yeah, if you're trying to catch a onside kick with your hands and not fall on it, that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Because what are you trying to catch your hands for? You're not trying to advance the ball,
Well,
right? All
he
you need
didn't
to do
even
is
see.
secure it.
He didn't even see where the ball was. That's the crazy part. Like, what were you looking at? Because he stepped on the ball. That's the bad. You know what I mean? He stepped on the ball and it hit his left foot. So I'm like, man, what are you doing? You're on
Yeah,
that front line as the hands team for a reason. That means you have to be heads up, eyes on, a head on a swivel, and eyes on where the ball is. His eyes should have been on the ball from it leaving the tee, but he never even
exactly.
seen it
You
come
get
his way, and then he steps on it, which gave, obviously we saw what happened. They recovered the ball, and then Flacco throws a strike. So uh, again, shout out to the Bears for the W on that one. That was a hell of a game. Shout out to the Josh Allen for getting his fifth win against the Chiefs, going against Mahomes in the regular season. I'd be interested to see him try to get his first win when it comes playoff times against Patrick Mahomes if they end up matching up against each other again. Because that's the one that's been his Achilles. He could do it in the regular season. He just can't do it in the playoffs and postseason. Um, Gotta get over that hump, man. Gotta get over that hump. We
That
got
if you give up a kick and you got 2 minutes to go for the game start, but I want to say that in 2025, you get an onside kick. That's a big problem, man. Like I don't.
right,
Yeah, I mean everything that could have been done to lose that game was done after you had it in hand. The officials didn't help clearly, but like you said earlier, you don't put it in the officials' hands. Don't leave it up to chance. Um, but everything they could have done to lose that game, they did, and walk away with a win still. And I know it's a good feeling, showing that despite adversity, your team is ready to compete. Right?
right.
I think that just says a team going forward. But that's just my observation.
If you guys just tuning in right now, I got the fancy call outs for tonight's game. Uh, Again, it's the Cowboys and the Cardinals playing tonight. We got George Pickens with 80 yards. We got the Cowboys with a win. Obviously, I think we. I don't have the graphic for the over on this one. We also got Dak Prescott 250 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, and Marvin Harrison Jr. With 60 yards receiving as well. Um, Good luck to these teams. But neither one of them really are in a place to really go anywhere as of right now. But a win here for the Cowboys definitely could turn some things around for them. I'm not sure what the rest of their schedule is looking like down the stretch. But obviously the Eagles are leading that division over there. They, like I said, they did trade for Phillips from Miami, giving up a third round pick to solidify that defensive front over there. They've been heavy in trade talks this coming up to the deadline here. So with that being said, like the Whoop said, the game is about to start here in about 15 minutes. I'm gonna leave these picks up here for a second for anybody that's placing any bets, whatnot for DraftKings, FanDuel, what have you. Um, then it's the Bears signing off here in a few minutes so that we can check out the game and see what happens.
All right, folks. Good. Good luck with these bets. Like I said, we had an up and down week, some weird games, but we have been extremely accurate with the fancy call outs. Expecting tonight to correct itself after yesterday's debacle. Good luck to both teams. Not a fan of either, but I am a fan of good football, and I'm hoping the receiving core, which is full of stars, Pickens and Lamb and Marvin Harris Jr. I hope they all come to play.
Absolutely, man. I'm a fan of good football too. Obviously a Bears fan, but who doesn't want to watch a good game? You don't want to see a trash game. Oh, I know another one that we missed on Bo Nix. I think he missed his by 4 yards. His
Yeah,
rushing.
that was I said he's a player for 4 yards rushing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That was really close. That was a weird game too. That was a
very
really
weird. Some
weird
very weird
game,
games.
especially considering C.J. Stroud going out with that concussion took a brutal hit, which that they actually didn't get penalized for that. The flag got picked up on that play, just because I believe they said he hadn't hit his sliding motion before the contact, and so just unfortunate there. I'm not sure how long he's gonna be out, but hopefully he gets well and can get back on the field soon.
Hopefully.
All
All
right,
right, looks like we're
folks.
getting ready.
This is Random XL, and we'll catch you guys on Thursday night. Make sure you tap in. We'll have some more picks out here for you, and have a good one.